Two perfect shots, Michael. You got me in the water on one and over the green on the other.
They yelled, raged, and even walked off mid-round. From golfers completely losing it on their caddies to heated arguments that exploded mid-round. These are the most controversial confrontations in golf history. The United States was cruising with a commanding 9-3 lead at Whistling Straits. Team Europe was desperate. Then, Jon Rahm stepped up to the tee on a critical par 5. His front foot slipped, and his drive rocketed into Lake Michigan. In match play, every shot matters. Rahm's mistake had just handed America a golden opportunity. All four players, Rahm, Sergio Garcia, Jordan Spieth, and Brooks Koepka, agreed exactly where the ball crossed. Case closed, until a course spotter insisted it had crossed 20 yards farther up. 20 yards on a par 5 is everything. That's the difference between going for the green versus being out of the hole. And Jordan Spieth wasn't having it. "That's not where it crossed," Spieth argued, pointing to the original spot. Adam Hayes, Rahm's caddy, immediately jumped in to defend his player. What started as a rules clarification exploded into a heated back and forth. Voices rose, fingers pointed. Reporter Jim Bones Mackay described the exchange as animated and quite fired up. At one point, Spieth could be heard saying, "I never raised my voice at all, buddy." A clear signal Hayes thought otherwise. The ruling went with the original spot. Rahm took his drop farther back. The Americans won the hole and eventually the match. What should have been a routine drop became one of the week's most charged moments. Proof that the Ryder Cup's biggest fireworks don't always come from the golf itself. Next up, we've got a masterclass in trust. Lee Haotong is with us again, and this time is standing over his ball on the 10th hole, staring down a shot that could make or break his round. Water guards the front of the green, and the margin for error is practically non-existent. This is the kind of moment where careers are defined, not by the shot itself, but by the conversation that happens before it. Lee is torn between a 4-iron and something longer. His natural instinct is telling him one thing, but his caddy JD DeBeer is seeing something completely different. The lie is tricky, sitting on an upslope that's going to affect the ball flight significantly. Wind conditions are swirling. One wrong calculation, and they're looking at a watery grave for the golf ball. The debate starts heating up. Lee's thinking 4-iron might be too much club, but DeBeer has other ideas. He's calculating the upslope, the wind, the adrenaline factor, all the variables that separate tour professionals from weekend warriors.
So my other argument is we're on an upslope here, so that's turning into 6-iron anyways, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's why that 4-iron could be 5.
Perfect.
Sometimes it's that simple. Lee pulls the trigger with complete confidence, sending a high draw that lands softly on the green.
You like that one, eh?
The result speaks for itself. Coming in next, and trust me, you'll never see this on a golf course again. Tiger Woods was in the zone. The 2002 Skins game at Landmark Golf Club, and every shot mattered. Woods stood over his ball in the greenside bunker on the 18th hole, visualizing the trajectory, reading the sand. Then, click. A camera shutter. Loud, right during his backswing. Woods backed off, visibly irritated. Steve Williams, his fiercely loyal caddy, spun around immediately. He'd already asked the fan once to stop. Then, twice. Now the guy had clicked again at the worst possible moment. Williams walked directly toward the spectator, no hesitation. "Give me the camera." The fan looked confused, clutching his $7,000 camera like it might protect him. Williams wasn't asking anymore. He grabbed it, wrestled it from the man's grip, and without breaking stride, walked straight to the edge of the pond surrounding the 18th green. He dropped it in. The camera hit the water with a splash. Gone. The gallery stood in stunned silence. Security didn't know whether to intervene or let it play out. Woods didn't even turn around. He'd already gone back to preparing his shot, trusting Williams had handled it. Later, he defended his actions without apology. The fan had been warned. Silence during a player's swing isn't a suggestion, it's sacred. And Steve Williams wasn't about to let anyone disrespect Tiger Woods on his watch. The incident became legendary. Getting to the next one, it's the 2015 PGA Championship at Whistling Straits. Bubba Watson rips a 313-yard drive into the rough on the par 5 fifth and finds his ball on what looks like an anthill. He calls over a rules official, and a simple ruling turns into an on-the-spot biology lesson that had everyone cracking up.
What's a burning hill? Dug in the hole. So either way you look at it.
Watson's logic is simple. Under Rule 25-1, golfers get relief from holes made by burrowing animals. Ants dig holes. Therefore, ants must be burrowing animals. Case closed, right? Not so fast. The official says they're not classified as burrowing animals, they're just loose impediments. But Watson's not backing down, he's pushing the logic. It's either an ant bed or an animal digging a hole. It can't be neither.
Nah.
Okay, is it? So they're tunnel making is what we're calling this week.
Watson's not done yet, though.
So if some guy was allergic to ants and he got an ant on him, you could care less.
Unless, well, sorry, we'd care less, but it's only if they're dangerous ants, you know, like the biting the fire ant ones are the ones you get.
Right, I got you.
The conversation ends with Watson accepting the ruling, but not before giving golf fans one of the most entertaining rules discussions ever recorded. Which brings us to this. The relationship had been fraying for holes. Small comments, passive-aggressive jabs. The kind of tension that builds when two people have spent too much time together, and one bad shot could detonate everything. Robert Allenby was grinding through another frustrating round at the 2015 RBC Canadian Open. Nothing was working. Every miss felt personal. And Mick Middlemoe, his longtime caddy, was right there for every agonizing moment. Then it happened. After yet another poor shot, Allenby snapped. The verbal abuse came fast and ugly. Middlemoe had dealt with plenty over the years, but this crossed a line. Words were exchanged, voices raised. The gallery fell silent, watching the implosion unfold in real time. Middlemoe made his decision. He dropped the bag on the fairway and walked off. Mid-round. Done. Allenby stood there, bagless, with holes still to play. He looked around desperately and spotted someone in the crowd, a school principal named Tom Foley. "Can you carry my bag?" Foley said yes. The amateur stepped inside the ropes and became Allenby's caddy for the rest of the round, navigating yardages and club selections he had no business knowing. The gallery was stunned. This wasn't a caddy swap during a practice round. This was a complete meltdown, broadcast to everyone watching. By the time Allenby signed his scorecard, the damage was permanent. The partnership was over, and golf had witnessed one of its most uncomfortable public breakups. Next up is where stubbornness meets brilliance. 2018 Charles Schwab Challenge at Colonial Country Club. Kevin Na finds his ball in trouble behind a massive tree, and his longtime caddy Kenny Harms is about to get schooled in the fine art of ignoring good advice.
I think I can pull it off, that's why.
Harms isn't buying it. He breaks down why this shot is risky. It's gonna get on the green. Yeah, but over the green is dead. Na's confident. Harms isn't having it. This guy has been caddying for over 30 years, worked with Hall of Famers like Hale Irwin and Raymond Floyd. He knows what he's talking about. This shot is madness. As long as you're okay with this club, I'm not okay with either one of them. I'm going with it. Na pulls the hybrid and lets it rip. The ball goes exactly where Harms predicted, way over the green. But it also ends up near a grandstand, meaning free relief. From there, Na chips in for one of the most improbable birdies you'll ever see.
Well, Kenny's been working for me 10 years, and I always like to prove him wrong.
Next up brings us the most relatable golf moment of the year so far. It happened in May 2025. First round of the Memorial Tournament, Jordan Spieth's tee shot on the par 5 fifth hole hits a tree and bounces backward into the thick rough. The grass is growing against him, the angle is terrible, and he's already 2 over par through 4 holes. It's 230 to fly the water. Greller's suggesting a safer play. Hit it back to the fairway, take their medicine, try to make 5. But Spieth's spinning through every scenario. What if it doesn't reach the fairway? Does he have to lay up again? Can he still make 5? Michael Greller, his longtime caddy, is trying to be the voice of reason.
Say if you hit it here, hit your third up on the front number. We're trying to make 5.
But Spieth's deep in analysis paralysis, and then he just reaches his breaking point.
Let's just hit it right here.
Spieth commits to the harder layup, muscles it perfectly back to the fairway, hits his approach to 25 feet, and holes the putt for birdie. For this one, we're heading to New York, 11.5 to 4.5. Europe was crushing Team USA on their home soil, and the Saturday 4-ball session at Bethpage Black was turning into a nightmare for America. Justin Rose stood over a 15-foot birdie putt on the 15th hole. The veteran Englishman and Tommy Fleetwood were dismantling Bryson DeChambeau and Scotty Scheffler. One more point would twist the knife deeper. But there was a problem. Greg Bodine, DeChambeau's caddy, was standing in Rose's line. Rose looked up. "Move out of the way." It wasn't polite. The pressure stripped away courtesies. This was the Ryder Cup. The putt dropped. Birdie. DeChambeau responded immediately, draining his own 11-foot birdie to have the hole. And now, everyone was fired up. What happened next turned the walk to the 16th tee into a rolling confrontation. DeChambeau confronted Rose and Fleetwood. Voices raised. Then the caddies got involved. Ted Scott, Scheffler's bagman, went after Francesco Molinari, Europe's vice-captain. Multiple fronts opened up simultaneously. Ian Finnis, Fleetwood's caddy, stepped between Molinari and Scott, physically separating them. Calls of "play on" echoed. By the 16th tee, the fire had been dampened. Rose and Fleetwood closed out the match 3-2. Handshakes were exchanged. Professional, cordial, utterly hollow. Rose defended himself afterward. "I'm trying to protect my environment in a big moment." He admitted he wasn't as polite as he could have been, but denied disrespect. Ted Scott issued a public apology to Molinari. U.S. Captain Keegan Bradley shrugged. Things happen. Up next, the final round at Royal Portrush was slipping away. Sergio Garcia had already endured 3 frustrating days, and Sunday was turning into another grind. Every shot felt heavy. Every miss compounded the last. On the 5th hole, Garcia stepped up to the tee. He needed something good. Anything. The drive was terrible. A pull, slicing away from the fairway into trouble. Again. Garcia's jaw clenched. His shoulders dropped. The anger that had been simmering all week finally boiled over. Without looking back, he flicked his driver over his shoulder, directly toward his caddy. The club tumbled through the air. Victor Garcia, Sergio's own brother, stood frozen as the driver landed near his feet. The gallery gasped audibly. Phones came out. Eyes widened. Sergio walked off the tee without a word. No apology, no acknowledgement. Just silence. Victor picked up the driver and followed. Professional as ever, but the damage was done. The moment had been captured. The video would go viral within hours. 20 seconds of pure frustration that encapsulated everything wrong with Garcia's week. This wasn't a caddy Garcia could fire. This was family. And somehow, that made it worse. They walked the rest of the hole in awkward quiet, the tension hanging between them like fog over the Irish coast, which takes us to the next. See, for years, golf fans had a front row seat to one of the sport's most bitter feuds. Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau couldn't stand each other. It started with slow play comments in 2019, escalated through social media wars, and reached peak toxicity with that infamous eye-roll moment at the 2021 PGA Championship. You remember it. Brooks was doing a routine interview when DeChambeau walked past in the background. The sound of metal spikes on concrete was all it took. Koepka's eyes rolled so hard they nearly fell out of his head. The feud had everything. Fans started calling DeChambeau Brooksy at tournaments, getting kicked out for heckling, while Brooks offered free beers to anyone who supported the trolling. Maybe because of all that, I don't have a logical explanation for this video.
Finally, after him kicking my ass, you know?
They're laughing about their past battles. Brooks admits it wasn't much of a match.
No, it's good. It's good to team up.
And they'd actually talked about partnering back at the 2021 Ryder Cup.
So it's good to be able to team up and see what we can do.
Wait, what? These two are laughing together, joking about their past battles, actually excited to be partners? Well, you know what they say. There's a fine line between love and hate. Our countdown reaches the next, and this one proves that golf isn't always a gentleman's game. 2015 at the WGC Cadillac Match Play. Keegan Bradley and Miguel Angel Jimenez are playing in a meaningless final group match. Both players already eliminated from advancing to the weekend. This should have been a relaxed finish to their week. It should be. The tension had been building since the 13th hole, where Jimenez questioned a drop Bradley received. The delay caused by that ruling seemed to stick with the veteran Spaniard. Now, standing on the 18th tee with Jimenez leading one up, Bradley pulls his drive near a temporary fence structure, entitling him to relief. Here's where it gets complicated. Bradley takes his drop, but the ball lands on a cart path, meaning he gets another drop. Simple enough when you have a rules official right there to guide the process. But Jimenez decides to walk 40 yards back from his own ball to offer his interpretation of the rules. Bradley's caddy, Steve Pepsi Hale, didn't appreciate the unsolicited advice. Then Jimenez crossed the line. He told Pepsi to shut up in quotations, And then Keegan got heated to Miguel Angel Jimenez by saying, "Hey, don't talk to my man that way." Two professional golfers going nose to nose, voices raised with Bradley repeatedly telling Jimenez to get back to his ball while defending his caddy's honor. After it was over and Jimenez had won the match 2-up, both players tried to explain themselves. Jimenez claimed he was just trying to help. Bradley admitted it was a heat-of-the-moment thing, but maintained he had to stick up for his caddy. This next one shows us what happens when emotions explode. It's late at night in Rome, at the 2023 Ryder Cup. Cameras catch Rory McIlroy in the car park, red-faced and raging, pointing and shouting at Jim Bones Mackay, Justin Thomas's caddy. Shane Lowry has to physically drag him toward a courtesy car as McIlroy keeps yelling, completely losing his composure on one of golf's biggest stages. So, what lit the fuse? Earlier that day, Team Europe was cruising, up 10.5 to 5.5 heading into the final day, when a bizarre subplot took over the crowd. Patrick Cantlay hadn't worn his Team USA cap all week, sparking rumors he was protesting not getting paid to compete. European fans pounced, waving hats at him and chanting, "Where's your hat, Patty?" at every hole. The teasing turned to tension. Cantlay and Wyndham Clark were down 1 to McIlroy and Matt Fitzpatrick with 2 holes to play, until Cantlay birdied both to snatch the win. His caddy, Joe LaCava, then waved his hat toward the crowd, while standing right in McIlroy's line as he prepared a putt to tie. McIlroy asked him to move. LaCava stepped back, then came right back and kept waving. The handshake line was icy, the air was toxic, and 30 minutes later, in that parking lot, it all boiled over. Coming in next to the moment that showed us championship pressure at its absolute peak, September 2021. Brooks Koepka and Daniel Berger are locked in battle with John Rahm and Sergio Garcia on the 15th hole. Berger's drive finds the fescue near a bunker, leaving Brooks with a difficult shot from thick grass. But it's not just the lie that concerns him. There's a drainage area directly in his swing path. For most players, this might be a minor inconvenience. For Brooks, it's potentially career-threatening. Just weeks earlier at the Tour Championship, he'd injured his left wrist when his club struck a hidden tree root during his follow-through. The injury forced him to withdraw and spent precious weeks rehabbing, just to make the Ryder Cup team. Brooks calls over rules official David Price, making his case for relief.
I cannot see getting as far as that through to get to.
You realize it's on a downslope, right?
I do, yeah, I can see that.
And I got to chop down with the lie.
Price remains unmoved. Frustrated, Brooks calls for a second opinion from Mark Litton of the European Tour. After nearly 10 minutes of debate, the verdict is the same. No relief.
Sorry, Brooks.
Thank you.
That's when 4-time major champion Brooks Koepka, representing his country at the Ryder Cup, loses his composure entirely.
I'll tell you what.
My wrist.
Brooks then hit an amazing shot onto the green to save the hole. For now, we find ourselves at the 2013 U.S. Women's Open. The pressure was through the roof as the world's top female golfers fought for one of the biggest titles in the sport. Jessica Korda was grinding through a brutal round. Every golfer knows the frustration of a tough day on the course, but what happened next? Nobody, literally nobody, saw this coming. Korda and her caddy, Jason Gilroyd, were clearly not on the same page. The back and forth between them grew sharper, her frustration bubbling over with every missed shot. And then, right in the middle of the round, boom, she snapped. She fired her caddy, not later in the clubhouse, not even at the turn, mid-round, with holes still left to play. Wait, what? Had this seriously just happened? 1 second, Gilroyd was guiding her through the US Open, and the next, he was out of a job, on the spot. But the story doesn't end there. Korda still had a tournament to finish. So she turned to the gallery, locked eyes with her boyfriend, Johnny Del Prete, and said something no one expected. "You're up." Luckily, Del Prete was a pro golfer himself, so he handled it like a champ. Picking up the bag and carrying on like this kind of thing happened all the time. It absolutely doesn't. The whole scene was so unexpected. It instantly became one of the most unforgettable moments in women's golf. And now, we have one of the strangest situations golf has ever seen, Michelle Wie's early career caddy carousel. Let's say that you're Greg Johnston, a veteran caddy with an incredible resume. You've won 4 majors with Julie Inkster. You've just helped Michelle Wie tie for 26th at the British Open. Not her best, but solid. You're at Manchester Airport, probably grabbing a coffee, thinking about your next tournament together. And then, your phone rings. The voice on the other end? Not Michelle, not her parents. It's her agent. And the news? you're fired. Just like that. It sounds like something out of a reality TV show, right? But this actually happened. Johnston, a caddy who helped Michelle secure 7 top 5 finishes in 8 LPGA events, was let go like he was an extra on a set. No explanation, no goodbyes, just a call at the airport. And here's the kicker. This wasn't an isolated incident. Michelle was going through caddies faster than most people go through playlists. The turnover got so wild, it became a running joke in golf circles. People started asking, what's going on here? Was the pressure of her skyrocketing career too much? Were the expectations set too high for her caddies? Or was it something else entirely? Nobody ever really got the full story, but one thing's for sure. If you were a caddy for Michelle Wie back then, you probably didn't bother unpacking your suitcase. Next up, and here we've got an absolute wild one from down under, the 2019 President's Cup in Melbourne. This one is about a caddy who decided enough was enough, and man, did things get ugly. Let me set the scene for you. Patrick Reed, golf's bad boy nicknamed Captain America, shows up in Australia already in hot water. Just a week before, he'd been caught doing some, creative landscaping in a bunker at the Hero World Challenge. You know, the kind of improving your lie that makes golf purists lose their minds. The Aussie fans? Oh, they were ready for him. From the moment Reed stepped onto Royal Melbourne, the crowd was all over him. Constant heckling, creative chants, the works. Every hole, every shot, it was cheater this and Sandman that. Reed and Webb Simpson had just lost their morning match. Reed's 3rd loss of the week, by the way. His caddy, Kessler Karain, who also happens to be his brother-in-law, had been watching his guy take heat for 3 straight days. And that's when the pressure cooker finally exploded. A fan says something, we still don't know exactly what, and Karain just snaps. He jumps off his cart, charges at the fan, and shoves him. Yes, you heard that right. A caddy shoving a fan. Chaos erupts as security has to jump in and everything. But the worst part? They banned Karain from carrying the bag for Sunday's singles matches. Literally unprecedented in President's Cup history. Poor Reed had to have his swing coach step in as an emergency caddy.